Every time I have to talk about Tudor, I picture it in Bark and Jack's voice. So I'm like, the Tudor Black Bay Heritage Bronze is a good watch. But is it up to snuff?
Boom, watch fam.
What is up, watch fam? My name is Michael. I am not the curator of the Theo and Harris watch shop, but I do like watches, and this is stolen from the shop, so, you know, close enough. Basically, what's stolen from the shop is, you already know if you watch this channel, but I take a watch from the Theo and Harris watch shop, which you can check out at theoandharris.com, and I just talk about it for a little bit. Today, we're looking at the Tudor Heritage Black Bay Bronze 79250 BM, introduced in 2016. Everyone kind of knows this if you're in the watch world, but Tudor was started off by Hans Wilsdorf in 1946, and basically the whole point was, we want Rolex quality without a Rolex in-house movement, so that way you can get a Rolex quality watch at an affordable price. And the old Tudors were literally Rolex cases, Rolex crowns, Rolex case backs, and everything like that, but the movement inside was different. But now Tudor is still a sister company of Rolex, but they've done basically their own thing. So now they have their own in-house movements. They're basically just one of the best value props in the watch market today. And they began their reign when they brought back the Black Bay. So the new Tudor Black Bay is based off the Tudor Submariner 7922. Mainly, it looks like basically Tudor looked at their entire vintage Submariner line and kind of pulled pieces that they like. And they came up with the Black Bay, a reimagined version of that. And the watch world was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm in. I honestly think if big brands like Rolex and everybody were just like, hey, we're just gonna start at the 40s and just do it again, I would be so ridiculously into that idea. If I can get a vintage, modernized Rolex sub, that would be my grail watch. I wouldn't need a vintage one or anything like that. It had the water resistance, it had the technology, it had the lume, or whatever it may be. I would be really into that. Just saying. A little bit about this watch in particular. You can see this is obviously a bronze watch, and normally when you get a bronze watch out of the package, it looks like this. This one looks like this. If you want to buy this watch and start from new, this can be cleaned off and you can start from new and bring your own patina in. This watch has not been beat up or anything like that. The patina on this watch is not due to the fact that someone was banging this around or, you know, doing whatever they want with it. It's just kind of the way that bronze oxidizes. It's stable like this. It's not going to get dramatically darker or anything like that. We'll get into that more specifically in a little bit. So this watch in particular, like I said, the Tudor Heritage Black Bay Bronze 79250 BM, introduced in 2016, is running the in-house automatic Tudor caliber MT5601 that has a 70-hour power reserve, which is 2.92 days. I could picture the marketing people at Tudor talking to like the engineers and being like, really? 70 hours? That's 2.92 days. We can't just say 3. You couldn't get the 0.08 hours added in. Or it's just dropped a 10-day power reserve. What are we going to do with 3 days? This being a dive watch, it has 200 meters of water resistance. This watch is 43 millimeters in diameter, 23 millimeter lug width. So if you want a strap, it has to be 23 millimeters, which reminds me about a few things, actually. We're giving away a strap from the Theo and Harris shop. On this video, all you have to do is leave a comment about your favorite material. Could be bronze, could be steel, and why. A little bit as to why. I really like to read about materials, so feel free to do that. And we'll send you a strap. It could also be leather, it could be alligator, it could be anything. I could just keep listing off things that it could be. Weirdest one on this one wins, or most upvoted, or funniest, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just favorite material, favorite substance, obviously. Favorite material is what we'll go with. Oh, and also, the biggest thing, when we hit 100,000 subscribers, we are giving away a Rolex Datejust. So, big news there. All you have to do, like I said, subscribe to this channel and look at the link in the description. And also, if you want to double your chances of winning, follow Christian's Instagram here. You can also follow mine and my YouTube channel. Could be fun. Could be a fun time. You never know. This is a pretty beefy watch. Obviously, I have a very small wrist. I have a 6.5 inch wrist. It's basically just bone. On every angle, there's no fat. It's just bone. I don't want to brag about my wrists. They're very slim, though. I can probably not bear a lot of weight on them. So this watch is going to look really big on my wrist. If you have a 7-inch wrist or anything like that, it's not a problem. Even me, I could get away with it if I wanted to. It looks pretty hulking. And that's not usually an adjective used to describe me. But speaking of lug width, this watch is on an aged leather strap and does also come with a NATO. Never worn, never out of the package. So yeah, this is a big watch, like I said. The Black Bay 58 that just came out Wowee, did Tudor nail it with that one. That is a great size watch, and I love it. So on to the most standout part of this watch is the fact that it's bronze. Almost all bronze. The back is actually PVD coated stainless steel. That PVD is why it looks gold and not stainless steel cover. It blends in a little better. Bronze, obviously, on your skin will turn it a little green. And other than that, we have drilled lug holes so you could stick, a needle or something in the side to pop off the strap a little bit easier. You won't tear up the case, so that's good. And then if we look at the crown over here, the biggest thing that you'll notice is that there's no crown guards, so the throne is open for the taking. But there's also a Tudor big rose on the outside of this screw down crown, so really nice beefy crown, and we love big roses. And when I look at this watch, it really does bring on this feeling of like vintage scuba diving, like fantastical kind of stories, steampunk mixed in with all that, with the bronze case, burnt orange aluminum bezel around here, which I think will fade and scratch. I'm not positive about that. And then the rustic kind of worn in brown leather strap. It really kind of brings on like a very, to me at least, like a cinematic feeling with the watch. But anyways, let's talk about bronze a little bit. Bronze, as you probably know, is not brass because those are two different things, but they are both alloys, and we're going to get into 3 different types of alloys, and then we're going to compare this to stainless steel. So we're going to start off with brass, and something important to know about all of these metals is that one isn't inherently better than the other in an extremely broad sense, but when we get to specific tasks, certain metals do better. So brass and bronze both contain copper, that's why they have a similar look. So brass is a combination of copper and zinc, and it's super malleable, it's softer and stuff like that. When we look at bronze though, that is a metal alloy typically consisting of copper and tin, and when we look at bronze, it's a lot harder, and in this case more brittle. Obviously malleable you can bend, bronze is brittle so it snaps, but it does have better properties for watches right away, which is great. But this is not tin bronze, this is aluminum bronze, which we'll get into in a second. So basically bronze is stronger and stiffer than brass, and a really big part of this is that it's more corrosion resistant. So if you think of something like a propeller that's in salt water all the time that can corrode easier, there's a really big leg up with bronze versus brass. Now, if we split bronze further and we go from tin bronze, which is what I was just talking about, to aluminum bronze, now we have what the Tudor Black Bay Heritage is made out of, which has even better marine properties. So now if we look at aluminum bronze, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's copper with 5 to 12% aluminum mixed into it. So now aluminum bronze is even stronger and stiffer than tin bronze, and I'm reading this of course, but it's more corrosion resistant due to a hard adherent protective alumina film on the outside of it. So basically stronger and way more corrosion resistant. So it comes in really handy with things that are going to be used in seawater, like a watch. Well, kind of. More specifically, fasteners, pumps and valve components, pipe fittings, heat exchangers, bearings, where they meet exacting specifications and are widely used for defense applications. So that's fun. Oh, and also aluminum bronze has a good resistance to creep, which is probably why I had a tough time putting it on. The reason I kind of said it's useful for watches, well, it's more useful for these things, is because in the grand scheme of things, we are not submerging our watches underwater for a super long time. Not as long as fasteners, pumps and valves, and all that stuff. So the corrosion resistance, just from that fact alone, isn't as important. You're probably going to go swimming or diving or whatever you're going to do with your watch underwater, not for a super long time. You'll rinse it off with fresh water, it will be dry, and if we're being honest, the watch is probably going to spend most of its time not in the water. And just on that fact alone, if you're looking for a benefit of aluminum bronze to go diving with over steel, I really don't think there's a lot. Just on that fact alone, never mind the fact that there is 316L steel. If that's wrong, I'll correct it right here. But there is marine grade steel, and it's called marine grade steel for a reason. So there's really no crazy utilitarian benefit to getting a watch in bronze, which again, people probably knew. It's really all an aesthetic choice at this point. If there is something I'm missing or if I got anything wrong, definitely comment that down below. I'll pin it to the top, or I'll just make a note in the description or anything like that about any facts I got wrong about the metals or anything like that. But this is really just an aesthetic feature that you're picking out. You're not really gaining anything. If you were gaining something dramatic or anything like that, we would have seen, Submariners and a lot of other dive watches that aren't that niche use bronze. What it does have, though, like I said before, is a really special quality to it. If I'm going to be honest, what I'm picturing, there's this subreddit called ImaginaryLeviathans, where they kind of have art in this style, and I think this fits in really well. Anyways, that is it. That is stolen from the shop. Make sure to subscribe if you like this video, and you can follow me on YouTube, The Iron Snail. That's my YouTube channel. It's also the name of a wrought iron fence company in Texas. So I can't wait for that lawsuit. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.